Hey there. I'm super excited to share this next interview with you. This is Gary. We're having a super slow paced, kind of fun, thoughtful conversation. We're inquiring into how all these divergent bits from his past eventually came together. We were able to bring them together inside of his core message. But it's a very cool conversation that we're having. But I wanted to encapsulate all of it here with this little lead-in intro that I'm doing. This is somebody who created a shop in one of the most popular areas of Los Angeles. And he said the problem before he got media attention was getting people to know that he existed. He said he was giving more away in merchandise to try to lure people into the store than he was making. And the difference, speaking of the difference that it made, this bottom line difference to his ROI, getting the media attention he got, both locally, which he started doing a lot, and nationally, increased his monthly income from 5 figures a month to 6 figures a month. And it's been 18 months and it hasn't fluctuated. So he increased his business amount. He said over 1,000%. That's a hell of a lot of ROI. So if you're looking at what media might do for you and wonder, does it have an actual bottom line correlation to the return on investment? Heck yes. One of the things that he quantified with, he does a lot of local television appearances at the most popular LA station. And he what he calculated is that each one of those appearances would have cost him $75K. But rather than paying for it, because we're talking about earned media rather than advertising, and doing major media that's earned media is just like you get millions of eyeballs and what would cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars for free. And again, his ROI has been 1,000%. Pretty staggering. All right. Enjoy this conversation. It's a cool, thoughtful one. I hope you have a good time and look at it from the perspective of what difference would this make for you and the message you want to disseminate to the world or the business you'd like to get in front of people. Thanks. Enjoy. Well, hello there, Gary.
Hi.
It's so great to see you. Are you in Vermont?
You too. Yes, I'm in Vermont. Yeah.
Just amazing to see all this so realized.
Crazy.
All of your thoughts and dreams realized, right?
Yeah, it's so awesome as you can see all the fields in the background.
Amazing.
I sit here and I look out at these fields and it's like, oh, what?
So thank you for being willing to share your story. It's just such an inspiring one. Share about before we met.
Well, my background is in theater and music theater, but I always had this. When I got older, like all of us do, I had this. I wanted to play bigger. I had this thing that I wanted to do, but I didn't know what or how to say it. And of course, if I didn't know what I was saying, who else is going to know what I'm saying or listen to what I have to say? So it's kind of where I was. Is that what you?
That's exactly what I mean. It's like this desire, this deep desire to play bigger and to be as big as you are. And
yeah,
yet,
absolutely.
How do I turn this desire into language? And then how do I craft that language in a compelling enough way that people want to hear it?
Right. Like, who cares, really? Who cares about Gary Anderson or what I have to say? Not that I'm boring or anything like that, but really, like, when you look at media and what that provides, you got to know what you're saying, and you got to have a message that's relevant and impelling.
Hence why you needed my help. it really is this loud, crowded online world, all world, in all media now. That
Oh yeah, yeah. And my thing was, well, I don't have a six-pack abs, or I'm not willing to, do what others have been willing to do uh, to have that be relevant, or have me be relevant, or at least seem relevant.
it's such a moving target, though. Like, what creates relevance in this world where there's instant celebrity for kind of no reason, in a way? How do you
Yeah,
create something? Our first conversations on this topic were, how do you create something meaningful and lasting that that will really make the impact and difference that you wanted to make?
right, right. And when you look at, anyone can get 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers or whatever that are in China. But how do you have that actually mean something? How do you have that have your ROI return on your investment, um, where it's not just a number, but something that's impacting both your business or your life, whatever you're up to or committed to, and then turn that into dollars or um, in interaction with people. How are you actually making a difference?
Right.
So, yeah,
And living your dream while you're doing it.
right, right.
Yeah. And so, okay, we started getting to work on this, and then what happened?
Well, I think that the first thing that happened was I started. I hadn't been singing forever, and I started singing again, and then I was in a production of Les Mis. I was at Jean Valjean and Les Mis, and then and then I started getting some traction. I was on KTLA for
Which is
uh,
like the big Los Angeles news station, and
yeah,
it
yeah. It was
wasn't
a
just
big
like
Los Angeles,
some
right?
nothing production of Les Mis. I mean, we're talking about big Los Angeles theater. So very good. Keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
um, and then I started. I was on KTLA as an expert, for several years, where they would call me and I'd go and I'd be a lifestyle expert on the show. And when we did the numbers, that the amount of people that saw those things, it would have cost 75,000 $75,000 a pop. We
Yeah.
figured, like, what it took to do, and here they're calling me to be the expert, and so that was really cool. And then out of that, I got an agent, that one of the top agencies in Los Angeles. And I'm like, what's really funny about this is, as as a kid in New York pursuing music theater, I thought agents were like, you had to. I don't know what I thought about agents, but I know I didn't have one. And now all of a sudden I'm at
Yeah,
one of the,
like unattainable.
yeah, yeah. And now I'm like at one of the top agencies in Los Angeles, and we have a producer assigned to me, and we're coming up with a story for reality television that all involves kind of around me being a DIY expert, and the fields that you see in the background are part of our fields from our farm that we have in Vermont that I'm restoring an 18th century Victorian mansion. I mean, it's like it's it's crazy and fun, and it's just beginning.
Yes.
That's
And it's
that's
just
the other thing.
beginning.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing too, Cheryl, is that really it's an ongoing work thing. It takes a lot, and it's not just like, yeah, I think you want to be on TV. There's this thing. Yeah, you have a message, and then you go to work, and it doesn't happen overnight. And then you have setbacks, and then you get back on, and you keep going. There's it's anyway, there's just not a panacea, and it's but unless you have that message, that starting point, you just spin your wheels, and
Yeah.
you think the results, like the media is the results, but that's not the results. It's because you have this message that you have
Yes.
media.
Yes. And we took, so you'd had the musical theater background, so you were used to performing, and yet there was more that you wanted to do, and you had these passions and thoughts, and we started looking at, well, how do you craft some of your most quirky, unique, self-expressed
Yeah,
things about you into a message that you could give away.
yeah,
This whole place that you come to life from, well, that you could figure out anything. And then now you've in fact become known for that. And
yeah,
you know, you've written a treatment and a TV script, and you've got this agent, and you've, you know, been on national TV and become renowned in the local Los Angeles market, and done all this big media, and it's all from that story, that message that you want to give away to people.
yeah. It's really, it's funny. This morning I was just working on this book that I'm writing, from you know experiences from my life, right? Where the where our dog is sending me, he's writing me notes on don't forget. It's like, don't forget to do this. And um, he's an elderly dog, and I'm kind of writing it as an experience of him to remind me of things that I need to do when he can't. And that's just a little thing of, like, speak from your experience, speak from um things that move you and inspire you, and if they move and inspire you, they're going to move and inspire somebody else. And then how do you get that message to other people?
Yes. And even though you, with all of your polish and training from, you know, the stage in New York, even with all that, it still was a hurdle, an exponential leap to get you to the place where you could express what was truly inside of you.
Oh, absolutely. but
It's just
but
amazing what you've done.
well, I think, and I'm not done. you
Yeah.
know um there's definitely focusing, and like, but I think, I just think it's never done. um there's an opening, and then you refine, and then you refine, and then you refine, and then you refine, and then you do something else. And so, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like,
and
you know,
you
an
know the
eternal work in progress.
uh,
But
the
right now,
best the best thing too is having someone say, no, that's not your message.
and with love.
So I'm not in this, like, vacuum, thinking that whatever I'm doing is um you know it just helps to have a team of people um know what we've come up with as a message, you being that team of people, um know what it is, and then say, guide me, you know like, so I'm not in a vacuum of what I think is a good idea, or and it actually isn't. So,
Right. Well, it is a delight to touch base with you and check in and hear
like,
about even more things that you're accomplishing out of this work together. Just outstanding. Thank you.
thanks.
Can't wait to see what the future holds.
Me too. Me too.
Yay, as you shine even brighter.
Thank you, Cheryl. It's such a pleasure to work with you, and know that you see, here's what's amazing about you uh, is knowing or having you who I trust implicitly, and yet you see something bigger than I see for myself, and then I get to step into that. Like having that um, is better and bigger than anything that I could ever want. You know, um, that little voice that goes on in my head that we all have that doubts all the moves that I make, that doubts the creativity that I have, and then having you stand back there and say, "No, that is great. No, you need to do that." And it's so awesome having that. Thank you.
Oh, it is truly my honor to see you share your talents and gifts with the world.
Thanks.
Yay!
Yay.
All right, until next time.
Yes, and I hope that's soon.
And likewise.
Bye.
Bye.